Now to decorate the cakes, I'm going to pipe the buttercream on. And I like to use these disposable piping bags which come on a roll. And I'm using a large petal piping tube. The one that I'm using is the Wilton number 123. Each of the piping tubes has a number embossed on the side. So to fit that into the bag, I'm going to cut a small hole in the end of the bag and then put the tube in. You've got to be careful not to cut away too much because you don't want the tube falling out of the bag. And to fill the bag, I find that unless you have somebody to hold the bag for you, then it's quite easy to put it in a vase, and that will keep the bag open while you're filling it with the buttercream. So I'm just giving the buttercream a quick mix to make sure that the colour is evenly blended, and then I'm going to put some of this into the piping bag. Then I can lift it off the vase, squeeze it at the top and twist it. So that's now ready for me to pipe with. The petal piping tube has a thick side to it and a thin side. You need to keep the thicker side in towards the centre of the cupcake, start squeezing and then draw it out towards the side and then back into the centre, giving even pressure for each petal. And I'm turning it in my fingers as I'm piping it. The second layer of petals are done in the same way, but just with smaller length petals. Then the cakes can be left at that stage, but I think it's nice to do another very small layer of petals in the centre. So that's the piped cupcake. The butterflies for the top are made using flower paste, which can be bought from most cake decorating supply stores, and they're cut out with these plunger cutters, which are made by the company PME, and they come in 3 different sizes. For drying them so the wings stay upright, you need to make a former. So I've got here some foil, which is 4 layers thick. I'm going to fold it in half and then fold back a bit on either side so that when I open it, the butterfly will rest within that V shape to hold the shape for the wings. To roll out the flour paste, I'm using a non-stick board. Just to make sure that the sugar paste doesn't stick, I'm going to dust the board with some corn flour. So I'm kneading the flour paste to get it nice and soft. And all the time that I'm not using the flour paste, I keep it well wrapped in a plastic bag because it dries out very quickly. So once it's thin enough, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cutter, rest it over the paste and press it well so it's cut. And then I need to firmly press down the embosser, lift the butterfly up and then press the plunger and take it out. And then to frill the edge, I'm going to use the tip of a cocktail stick. So I do the same on the other side. Okay, so once those edges have been frilled, the butterfly gets folded in half and left in the former. I made all the butterflies in white, so the next stage is to colour them, and I'm using powder colour for this. To start with, I'm going to brush on some colour using a dry paintbrush. And on this one, I'm going to put some blue onto the edge of the wings. So to paint the detail on the butterfly, I'm going to mix some powder colour with some alcohol-based rose water. As it's alcohol-based, the rose water will evaporate very quickly. So that's my painted butterfly, which I now leave to dry, and then I'll hold it in the steam of a kettle. So when the painting has dried, you need to hold the butterfly in the steam of a kettle. This sets the powder colour and helps to bring out the colour in it a little bit. But you need to take care not to scald yourself over the heat of the kettle. And you just do it until the powder looks slightly damp, and then leave them on a piece of baking parchment to dry. And the final step is just to place the butterflies on the cupcakes, pressing them into the buttercream.